The Goto command can be extremely strange, especially if this is something that's fairly new to you insofar as working with a program language that allows you to direct the flow of commands that are being executed from one place to another. Let me explain via an example. So in this spell, we're going to start off by clearing the emulated computer screen window with the CLS command. Then we're going to we're going to use here a system variable, which will be a random number selector between 1 and 100. So we're going to put a random number between 1 and 100 into number box 1. Then we're going to print secret number selected. So that's going to let us know that the spell has selected the secret number, and it has placed it into number box 1. Then we're going to put 1, the numerical value 1, into number box 2. Then we're going to have a spell or system label called try again, and these labels are identified by having an @ symbol and then some wording afterwards, and it's entirely up to you what that wording is. In this case, we're going to have it be try again. Next, we're going to have input box guess number into number box 3. So essentially, we're going to get a pop-up input box that enables us to input a number, and then whatever number that we guess is going to be placed into number box 3. Here is where some of the analysis commands start getting used. If number box 1, which you'll recall is the secret number selected by the spell, so if number box 1 equal to number box 3, which of course corresponds with the guess that we just made within the input box, right? So if number box 1 equal to number box 3, then go to winner. Now this is the first time we're actually seeing the Goto command being used in this spell. So what we're telling the spell to do is if both these numbers are equal, right? Number box 1 equal to number box 3, then we're going to jump to the winner label within the spell. And if we scroll down just a little bit here, we see the winner label right here. So it will actually jump to this place in the spell, and then it'll continue executing commands. So then if it's a winner, it'll print you win. The secret number was number box 1, and that of course corresponds with the value that had been selected at the very beginning of the spell. It will then say it took you number box 2 tries. As you may recall, we put the numerical value of 1 inside of number box 2. So it literally would have only taken us 1 try if we get the correct number the first time we put a number into the input box when we're prompted to do so. Now, once this takes place, once that gets printed onto the emulated computer screen window, we see another use of the Goto command, and it says go to end game. And by the way, it's worth pointing out that in this example, a real intentional effort was made to use the Goto command in ways that aren't necessarily the most efficient, but they nevertheless demonstrate the strength and power of this particular command were one to choose to use it. So we're going to then go to end game, and there's the label at end game. If we scroll down even further, we see at the very end of the spell, we see a label saying end game. So once it goes here, there's no additional code to execute, and the spell ends. Now, let's go back up a moment. Assuming for a moment that when we are first prompted to guess a number, the number that we guess is not equal to number box 3. So number box 1, okay, not equal essentially, right, to number box 3. So what happens in a situation like this, okay? So if it's greater, so if number box 1, right, which is the secret number, if it's greater than number box 3, and number box 3, of course, corresponds with the number that we guess. So if the secret number is greater than number box 3, then go to at lower. So we go to at lower, and what does it say? Print sorry, your guess was too low, and then we immediately increment the value of number box 2. And of course, number box 2, as you'll recall, is the user input variable where we initially put the value of 1, right? So already one guess has been used up, so we want to go ahead and increment that because now the second guess will take place. Now, what happens if it turns out that the number that we select, right, the number that we guess, turns out to be higher than number box 1? So if number box 1 less than number box 3, right, because number box 1 is a secret number that the spell has chosen, and if what we are inputting into inbox or input box, if the number that we're plugging into the input box happens to be less than the number that was selected by the system, then we're going to use the goto command, goto at higher. So when we go to at higher, what essentially is happening is the following. So here it is, at higher. Print, sorry, your guess was too low. Now that's counterintuitive, and the phraseology is admittedly a little bit clumsy, but nevertheless, this is the correct label to apply, because bear in mind, okay, in a situation like this, if the secret number is less than the number that we guessed, that means our guess was too high, right? So therefore, we want to go to add higher. Does that make more sense now? So when we go to add higher, it's like, hey, sorry, your guess was too high. And then we increment number box 2 so that we can keep track of our number of guesses. And then, of course, we go to try again. So when we go to at try again, that means we're jumping all the way back up to this portion of the code where we get prompted with an input box command. So are you starting to see how the goto command allows us to jump around within a spell and to execute discrete portions of code based on what's going on? Again, this is not the most optimal way to present this type of spell, right? There's a much more efficient way to do so, but this allows us to demonstrate how the goto command works. Okay, let's go ahead and click on cast. We'll cast the spell, and we should be greeted by an input box momentarily. Okay, it's showing us that the secret number has been selected, and here we are being prompted to guess a number. So let's try by guessing the number 50. And let's see what happens when we click on OK. Okay, it says, sorry, your guess was too low. Notice how it's pointing that out over here in the emulated computer screen window. So if the guess was too low at 50, let's then try moving our guess up to 75. Now let's see what happens. All right, it's saying, sorry, your guess was too high. So we already know that the secret number is somewhere between 50 and 75. So why don't we go ahead and try the number 60. Let's see what happens when we try 60. It says, sorry, your guess was too high. So this already tells us that the secret number is between 50 and 60. So let's try the number 55. And let's see what the system responds. Okay, it's saying that the guess was too high, so now we know that it's between 50 and 55. Now, we've already tried both those numbers, so it's probably either 51, 52, 53, or 54. So let's try 52, and we'll click on OK. Okay, the guess was too low. That means it's going to be a little bit higher. That tells us that it's either 53 or 54. Let's try 54. Let's see if that's the number. Oh, it was too high, so that means it will be more than likely 53, right? That's the only number left to guess. And sure enough, it indicates that we win, right? You win. The secret number was 53. It took you 7 tries. Now, that is really cool because, of course, now it gives us a number to beat. And so this is something that we could try over and over and over again until we perfect our guessing skills, right? Which again it could be a little bit tricky to do given the fact that it really is a random number that's being generated. Yes, we can use a bit of algorithmic thinking in terms of trying to split these numbers and then try to analytically pick the number that might be the one that is in fact the secret number. But the point of this spell, the point of this demo, is to demonstrate how the goto command can be used. And again, this is a fairly somewhat complicated and clumsy way of demonstrating how the goto command works, but nevertheless it does present at least some information as to how this command can be used inside your spells. Thanks for watching. Now please subscribe to our channel.